Yeah, the race is very much on. We really should call it a top five race because it looks almost certain that the top five will be in the Champions League. From 4th to 10th at the moment, there's 6 points. 4th to 10th. So it's wide open. I mean, Chelsea, 3-0 defeat away at Brighton, dealt them a huge blow. They dropped down to 6th place. I mean, for me... before we talk about Chelsea, let's hear from their manager Enzo Maresca explaining how frustrating that performance was.
Very difficult, as you said, especially in the moment that we are, in terms of 14 games to go before tonight games, and in the position that we are, 4th in the league, winning, you can go very close to the third, you can make the big gap bigger with the rest, and the performance has been no good at all. But it's the moment that we need to stick together and try to finish in the best way.
Over to Bournemouth, who jumped above Chelsea this week thanks to their win at Southampton. Manager Andoni Iraola was asked afterwards if his team is starting to believe they can finish in a European spot.
I think we are still far, and it's the truth, is what I think. We have still a lot of games to play, I hope, no? When they are, 6, 7, 8 games remaining, when we are really playing for something, we can be there and we can have the options, no? But for me now, the concern is to keep the performance level as high as we can.
Right, never mind Europe. Let's talk about the Champions League, shall we? Top 4, top 5. I look at Bournemouth, Gabby, and I think, well, they're 5th. They're a point behind City. Their next half a dozen games, listen to these: home to Wolves, away to Brighton, away to Spurs, home to Brentford, home to Ipswich, away to West Ham. And there should be plenty of points in those games. And Bournemouth sitting 5th. You look at the sides behind them. Chelsea misfiring at the moment. Yep. Newcastle misfiring at the weekend. Villa having played a lot of games and with injuries. I think Bournemouth have got a glorious chance of making the top 5.
100%. Like you said, Villa there. Champions League games coming up in the next 2 weeks. And they'll play them 2 Champions League games in the space of 7 days. So, Aston Villa, the Liverpool game on Wednesday been brought forward. Unai Emery's angry about that because he's made the fixture schedule even more crazy for Aston Villa. But like you says, them games you just mentioned there, Bournemouth, you could see them winning every one. Do you know what I mean? The way they're playing, they fear nobody. The standout performance for me was the Newcastle game away. They didn't care about Joelinton, Tonali, Gumires. They went for them on the front foot, didn't sit back. So I think Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth have got every chance of finishing that top 5. Chelsea inconsistent. Newcastle will be up there as well. I don't think Fulham will be top 4, but they could finish top 7. I do actually honestly think Aston Villa will miss out on top 5.
Yeah. Even Brighton, you got a chance to get into the European places, not necessarily the Champions League places. But what is it about Bournemouth? Because that performance, as you say, they're based at Newcastle. They had 11 fit players. But they showed no fear, did they?
I just think they show no fear. They've got a way of playing. They'll go after teams, and they've got speed on the counter as well. Semenyo, Kluivert looks fearless. He was giving Southampton a run around on the weekend. Just playing without fear, Jeff. They can enjoy how they're playing at the moment. And they've got a manager who's, let's be honest, he could be getting manager of the season if they finish in the top 7. Do you know what I mean? It's been outstanding from Bournemouth. FA Cup as well. You do not want to play them in the FA Cup.
You don't.
They've got nothing to lose in that. And as a player, Jeff, when you're playing without fear and without expectation, the pressure's off. You can just enjoy your football. If Bournemouth finish 10th place or 11th place, it's still a great season.
Yeah. So, if you looked at Bournemouth, look at the chasing pattern. We talked about Chelsea already and the fact that they're having a real struggle at the moment. But where did that Newcastle performance against Manchester City come from? People are saying they could be distracted by the Carabao Cup final. Well, that's not on March the 16th.
I heard that as well. I was like, let me check again. I'm sure it's mid-March.
I had to look at the dates to see when it was.
Yeah, that took me, forget about that. I get it a week before or 10 days before, but that was a shocking performance. A lot of people were saying, Newcastle could go there and beat this City side, who was so poor against Real Madrid. But City just absolutely dominated, didn't they? Isak didn't have a kick. Gordon got brought off for Callum Wilson. Murphy was poor. Defensively, Trippier got brought off. Was it half-time for Livramento?
Yeah.
He was poor. Marmouche gave him the runaround, especially for the Edison assist. I mean, that's so poor defending from Trippier to get done over the top like that and Marmoush finish it. But I'm sure the way Eddie Howe is as a manager, he will put that past and say, come on, next game, we must win. And then
Well, they do, yeah. Nottingham Forest.
Forest at home.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a must win.
It's a massive game,
great
isn't
game,
it?
that will.
Yeah. And again, you know, it could well be that other sides are taking points off Newcastle. If Forest takes points off Newcastle, strengthens not just Forest's position, but it strengthens Bournemouth's position as well.
Yeah. Villa play Chelsea next weekend at home.
Yeah,
big game.
And of course, Manchester City have got a huge game, haven't we? We've got two huge games because they've got Real Madrid first. But
how good is it though, Jeff, to see last season, the season before Newcastle Champions League, last season Aston Villa qualifying for the Champions League. This season it could be Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. I love it. It's boring when it's the same teams that you expect to get into the Champions League. Imagine the Champions League run next season for Bournemouth or Forest. Imagine.
Incredible.
Wow.
Guy from Brighton texted, morning, Jeff and Gabby, enjoying the show. Moan and groan about it, but PSR has levelled the playing field. Remember, it was brought in to stop clubs buying the league title like Chelsea and Manchester City. Do you think there's an element of truth about that?
I think definitely, and Manchester United in January would have spent so much money to try and fix their problems, but they couldn't because of PSR rules. They could only spend a little bit. I like it, Jeff, in that sense, because Aston Villa's owners, they're dying to spend money, but you can't because you have to sell, and the Duran money is sitting there maybe for the summer. So I don't mind it, and it just shows that the big clubs have to be careful now what to spend.
Okay, let's put you on the spot.
Okay.
Who's your top four?
Okay, I'm joking. I think Liverpool win the league, Arsenal second, Manchester City will finish third. They will continue their good run, and I'm going to go with Bournemouth. Okay. Fourth position. I really am, mate. I just watched them. They're fearless. They're not scared of anyone, and the pressure's going to be on Newcastle, Chelsea, and the pressure's off Bournemouth.
And if there's a fifth place, who finishes fifth?
I think Chelsea. I think Chelsea will sneak into it. Pressure's on Chelsea, and they have got good players, haven't they? If Cole Palmer goes on a run again, so I think Newcastle will miss out, and I think Nottingham Forest will as well.
Well, I'm going Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Nottingham Forest,
really,
and Bournemouth for my top five.
You think Nottingham Forest will? Yeah.
I don't see it.
Interesting their result
see it
this
happening
weekend.
For Chelsea.
You really don't know?
No, I just can't see. Don't see where the goals are coming from, and I think a lot of that belief has disappeared. There's so much dependence on Cole Palmer, and if he's not doing it,
does he keep his
Chelsea
job?
Are not really ticking
if they don't get Champions League football with that squad of players, Jeff.
This is Chelsea. I'll say no more.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.